Hey guys, welcome to another Late Night Thoughts. So today's topic is regarding the Harry Potter TV series that has been announced by HBO Max, and it's supposedly going to be covering the books in more detail. It's going to be a whole new cast, all sorts of things, but we're obviously familiar already with the Harry Potter films and those aesthetics, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this series. And so based on that, I've just been having some thoughts as to what kind of things they could do to, one, set it apart, but two, also be faithful to the source material and end up with the final product that we all want from the Harry Potter films. So one of the complaints about the Harry Potter films in general was really the amount of content that they had to leave on the cutting room floor, basically, that they couldn't fit into the film simply because of run times. The books are enormous. They have so much in them, and there's just no way that they could have ever incorporated them all into the films. But that said, the films were still really good for the most part. They did a decent job of telling the story and kind of supplementing what we already knew from the books, especially if you had read the books. So yeah, look, there's a lot of excitement behind this series coming into it. There's so much potential here to really mine all the aspects of the book, not just the main story elements, but the plot elements that were not included in the films that people really want to see. And so I'm going to get into some of the things today that I think that they should really focus on to make the show a success. And so, I think one of the things that, before I get into that, one of the things that the biggest uphill challenges they have with this series is establishing a new set of characters with new faces who people will accept as the main characters. So obviously Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, the main three, they are synonymous with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. When people think of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they think of their faces, and so they are iconic in their own regard. And so casting new kids to play these roles is going to be a big challenge. It's one thing to be able to cast kids that look the part, but it's another ones who can actually deliver the part. And so there's a big challenge there. But in my opinion, there's actually even bigger challenge to fill those roles, particularly of the older characters, a lot of the teachers and the parents, because in the films they had some really heavy hitter actors playing the roles for the adult characters. I think of like Gary Oldman, Michael Gambon, Richard Harris, all those Severus Snape, what was his name, Alan Rickman, or so many characters that were just actors that were just phenomenal playing these adult roles. And so to me, that's an even taller task to cast. And you look at Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid, come on, who's going to replace him? So they've got a real uphill battle there. But that said, there's still things that they can focus on to get this series right and to make it a great series for everyone. And so the first main thing I want to talk about is regarding the season format. So obviously it's a TV series, there's going to be seasons. I think keep it simple, keep it one season per book. So you would end up with 7 seasons of this thing. On top of that, it should be one season per year in terms of production, so that they avoid cast getting too old. This is always a challenge when you have child actors, but I really think they should really try as hard as they can to film every year, have a new season every year, so that we grow up with the actors and the characters. And that was part of what the greatness of the Harry Potter films. They had 8 films that came out in essentially a 10-year span. That's so incredibly impressive when you think about it, and the quality of those films on top of that. So that's the second thing. The third thing is tailoring each season to the length of the book. So I talked about how each season should represent one book, but not only that, they should actually tailor the length of each season to the size of the book. Now, you can't do it directly proportionate, because, for example, say if you had 10 episodes, for season 1, Philosopher's Stone, that would proportionate wise mean that something like The Order of the Phoenix would have to be 40 episodes. But obviously they're not going to do that. So as best they can, say if season 1 is 10 episodes, that something like season 4 and 5 with those really chunky books should be somewhere in the range of 15 to 20 episodes, in my opinion. They should scale it that way, because that's their best shot of really representing the books and getting as much out of the books onto screen as possible. So the fourth point is that, please God, no race swapping or diversity, like forced diversity or general wokeness. There is no need for it whatsoever in Harry Potter films or Harry Potter shows. The reason for that is because the source material is already so diverse and so rich and so forward thinking, modern thinking. It has so many strong female characters. You've got characters of color. You have themes about poor people being oppressed and the rich people being, you know, scum. Like, I mean, it has everything across the board that you can imagine. So it's like, you don't need to force in these extra narratives into the show. And, you know, I don't want to see Hermione showing up Ron and Harry all the time again. She already shows him up in terms of her skills in the book, but Harry and Ron have their own strong qualities that shine through too. And we need to see all of them. I don't want to see any of this forced wokeness into the series, because that would completely ruin it, and it's unnecessary when the series already has great diversity of thought and characters. So yeah, and the fifth and final point that I want to touch on is consistency. So one of the things that was an issue with the films was the lack of consistency with characters, with aesthetics, particularly of the castle, a lot of things, and even the rules of like dueling, how they would cast spells and whatnot. You know, that was an issue a lot of the time. It bothered me because it felt like each film, once the next, each director wanted to have their own sort of version of how this universe works, and it was annoying because they set up in the first two films a very clear set of aesthetics for the series, and they just kept changing it as the series went on. And I'm not talking about tones. Like the Harry Potter books do change in tone. They get more lighthearted, they get darker, they have all of that. But I'm talking about just the aesthetic and keeping that consistency. With this TV series, they have the opportunity to really keep it consistent, keep everything as it should be, and not be changing things to suit whatever next scene they want to shoot. So yeah, those are the 5 main points, as I mentioned. Keeping it 1 season per book, one season like per year in terms of getting produced, tailoring each one to the length of each book. Fourth point being like no wokeness, and fifth one just being consistency. So just really following those 5 steps, and they're gonna have a lot of success with the series. I'm hesitant. I'm cautious about it because a lot of shows and entertainment these days do let me down in this regard, or one way or another. I am slightly confident of the fact that it is HBO producing this, and HBO is the best at making TV series out there by far. If this was in the hands of something like Disney or whoever, Warner Brothers, Universal, I would not have anywhere near the sort of confidence, I would have no confidence whatsoever. But with HBO, I do have a sense that, okay, they can do it, and it has J.K. Rowling's backing. Hopefully she wants to keep faithful to her own books. We'll see about that. But yeah, anyways, that's my thoughts on that. I'd love to know what you guys think about this upcoming Harry Potter TV series. What should we expect? What would you like to see in particular? Post them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye.